Today is July 16th, 2013. We are at the Atlanta History Center in Atlanta, Georgia. My name is Joe Bruckner, and I'm here with Tony Hilliard. We're both volunteers at the Atlanta History Center, and we're honored today to have with us Donald Lewis Fredenburg. Mr. Fredenburg is a Vietnam veteran, served in 1967 through 69 in the United States Army, and we are interviewing him for the Veterans History Project, and he's kindly agreed to come in here and tell us his story, his life story, as well as his experience in the military, and particularly when he served in Vietnam. Number one, I want to thank you for your service and what you did for the country.
Thank you, sir.
And I want to thank you for coming in here and telling us your story. Would you give us your full name and your date of birth?
Full name, Donald Lewis Fredenburg, senior, since I got a junior now. Born Berlin, Germany, 1948,
Okay.
29 May.
Okay. And what is your current address?
Current address, 3609 Beaumar Road, Douglasville, Georgia.
Okay.
And that's 30135.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Well, like I said, I was born in Germany. The reason I was born in Germany, my dad was a military man. He had a career military.
Okay.
He was there, had something to do with a little operation called Berlin Airlift, and that's the reason he was over there.
Yeah.
And my mom and my older brother and sister was there. And I just happened to be born there, and only stayed there a couple years,
Yeah.
but I didn't, I was too young to remember anything about it. So
Yeah.
when the lift was over, we came back and went to California, stayed out in California for a while. And then we, of course, when Dad go overseas, we come back home to Atlanta. This is where my mother was born and raised at. My dad was from New Jersey. And I guess like a lot of young soldiers, they met over at Fort McPherson. So Mom lived right down the street from the fort, and her father was a Spanish-American War veteran, career man. And he did I've got his medals and stuff. He's got a Distinguished Service Cross and some other things that I don't even know what they are. So, I really need to look them up.
Yeah.
They met there, and when, like I said, when Dad had to go overseas, we'd always come back to Atlanta regardless where we were, since it was Mom's home. And in the meantime, my mom had another child, a little girl, my youngest sister. So there were four kids total. We grew up over on the south side of Atlanta, right down from Fort McPherson, and then we moved over what used to be Stewart Avenue. It's now Metropolitan Avenue. And that's where, strangely enough, all four of the Striblins graduated from the same high school, Sylvan Hills High School, which was, for a military family, that's very unusual, very unusual.
Yeah.
But I had I guess a normal child raising, typical kid. I'd get in trouble here, I'd get in trouble there, get a belt across the bottom every once in a while. And it was for the best, I guess. But when I became a senior in high school, I was not college material. I was a fairly good athlete. I could have went to school somewhere to play ball, but I just had enough. I didn't want to go to school anymore. I was tired of playing ball. So when I graduated, I bummed around that summer, and of course, most of my friends in the fall, they were going back to school. So they all left, and I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do now? So I went and talked to my older brother who had been in the Navy. And I told him I was thinking about joining the Air Force for 4 years. He said, let me tell you something. He said, why don't you just go down the draft board and get drafted? That's only 2 years. If you like it, you can always re-enlist. I said, well, that's a pretty good thought right there. So that's what I did. I went down to the draft board and told them I'd like to be drafted, and 2 weeks later they came right along. And a week later after that, I reported to the induction station down on Ponce de Leon. Ended up at Fort Benning to take my basic training at Sand Hill. And after the basic training, I went to Fort McPherson, Alabama. Never heard of it in my life. You know, everybody else was going to Tigerland, Fort Polk, or out to California, you know, somewhere besides Fort McClellan, Alabama. So I get there over there, and all they got over there is a chemistry school and the largest whack basic training outfit east of the Mississippi. And I said, boy, this is gonna be cool, man. So when I get there, it was a different setting from basic training. When we got there, we checked in, we got to our barracks and everything, and they said, y'all go on over to the cafeteria, to the mess hall, we'll get you something to eat. Walked in there, we could eat anything we wanted, order what we wanted, you know, instead of just going through the chow line and throwing slop on your face. That was good. But you know, I never did see any of those whacks. Never did see any of those whacks. Never did. So we went through AIT, got out of there, and came home, and then my next assignment was going to be Vietnam. This is late December, early February when I arrived over there.
What year?
68. So
What were your feelings about going to Vietnam?
I was ready to go.
Okay.
Matter of fact, there was an article in the paper back in late 64, early 65, that the first Cav was training at Fort Benning. And if you've seen the story, We Were Soldiers, that was the article in the paper about it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself then, I wouldn't mind being with those guys. But you know, it was just an afterthought.
Yeah.
Well, when I got there, they shipped me out. And luckily I got with the 5th Battalion, 7th Cavalry.
Huh.
And let me back up just a minute.
Okay.
When I stepped off the plane in Vietnam, it was night. Of course, it was hot and humid and everything else, you know, just like a Georgia night around here. So I said, well, this don't look like it's going to be too bad. I was like Cameron Bay.
Yeah.
So they sent us over to these barracks, and they had a formation every morning, noon, and night. And if they called your name, you got shipped off to your unit. If they didn't, they'd put you on a detail. Well, the first detail I got was stuck on a beach, cleaning up the officers' beach, where they were out partying.
Yeah.
Well, after that, I learned better, so I just hide around the corner and listen for my name, and if I didn't hear my name, I'd go over to the EM club and have a beer or two. That worked out good, until they called my name. Then we had to go to on K, and go through this little weak jungle school like deal. We had to rappel off a tower, fool around and all this kind of stuff, and they still hadn't given me any rifle or nothing. So when I finally got to the company, they issued me an M16. I didn't even know what an M16 was. Never seen an M16 until I got there. I trained on an M14
Oh, okay.
and an M60 machine gun. That was it.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what am I supposed to do with this thing? And the guy said, you never seen one of these? I said, nope. They said, okay, here's an M79 grenade launcher. You can tote this thing. I said, how many rounds it shoot? I said, one. I said, I don't want this thing around. Give me something else. But I carried it for maybe a month, and then some other new guy came in, and I gave it to him, and I took a rifle. I carried the rifle for about, I don't know, a month and a half, and then I went over to the M16, the M60, and carried it for 5 months. And but when we first got in, all the guys that were in my platoon, my squad, they were just as helpful as they could be. You know, they teach you how to do this and do that. It wasn't none of this, what are you looking over my shoulder for? You know, I thought that was pretty special on my account anyway. But these guys didn't know me, I didn't know them.
Yeah, yeah.
But we did get to know each other, and I guess that's a good starting point right there.
Yeah.
That's about the time when the Tet Offensive was going on.
Okay.
So my first action was a little place called T.T. Woods, which was northwest of Saigon, of Hue. And we made it all the way down to the Perfume River, and they stopped us right there. They wouldn't let us go into the city. We had a few casualties, but I hate to say this, but you know, few too many to mention. So that was okay. They, of course, everybody else was new.
Is he loud enough?
And I was scared to death. But my fellow troopers got me through it. And, you know, I guess they expected on down the line I'd do the same thing for the new guys coming in. Once I wasn't an FNG anymore, that was fine. So we moved out of there, and our base camp was up at Camp Evans, which was just a little bit north of Way. And we worked the mountains up in that area, the flatlands, the sands. So it was a good adventure. I had everything but really the swamps or the delta type of stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, you still had your rice paddies you had to tromp through every once in a while, but that was okay. But our then they decided that they wanted to go back into the Ashaw Valley after 10 years nobody being there, which was a NVA stronghold. So 5th Battalion, 7th Cav, A Company, which I was belonged to, we were on point, and we were going in there. So I've never been shot at while I was riding in a helicopter until then. Luckily, when we came into the valley, there was fog all over the bottom, ground fog. And the choppers were supposed to come right into the middle and drop us in the valley. Well, that changed right there because I couldn't see where they were going.
Yeah.
So next thing we know, we see these big green basketball looking things coming up through the fog. And they're 37 millimeters. Man, what in the world is that? And then a couple choppers went down, and we finally made it to what they said was LZ Tiger. We got there, and they had one, after we got on the ground and dispersed, set up a little perimeter.
Now, when you say it, choppers went down, were they shot down or did they?
No, they were shot down.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. When we came in through there, when we landed and got a little perimeter set up, then other choppers started coming in. One got hit in the tail rotor, but he managed to get it down onto the landing pad. And when he did, it just started flipping around, decapitated a couple guys. Lost, the guys on the ground were not hurt, but the guys that were in the chopper, when they came out and that blade started flipping and flopping, they got them. So that was really the first experience I'd seen of somebody being killed.
Yeah.
And, you know, there again, it was not done by the NVA. It was caused by the NVA.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So we got through that night, or that day, and grand total of the helicopters that was shot down that day was 75. 75, and I'm talking about Hueys, Chinooks, cranes. We saw one crane come in, and he'd been told not to come that way, but he was swinging a tank in, and he came right over, and that gunner on the ground hit him right square in the middle, and he just folded. That was terrible. Chinooks going down all over the place. After all that was over with, they finally decided that we need to go a little bit higher up this mountain, LZ Tiger. So A Company took the lead and went up and got to the top of it. And we sat up there for a couple of days. Nothing major happened. So we started back down. And when we were on the road, we never suspected that they would come up the back of that mountain because it was so steep. But we got about, I don't know, half mile from where we sat up at and looked back, and there they were. They had taken over our position on top of that hill, a mountain. So we had to fight our way back up through there and get rid of them, and then turn back around and come back down the mountain again. But once we got into the valley, it was unreal. They were, and they had caves in there that you could fit, I guarantee you, a battalion of men. Had a hospital on one side, mess hall on the other. You go on back, they had an armory over here, bunks over here. It was just unreal what they did with a couple little shovels and stuff. But we never did. Well, we encountered a couple of them, but you know, the majority of them had DD mined out of there. They were gone. They were gone. They left a lot of their stuff there that I'm sure they weren't happy about leaving, but they had to leave it because we were coming. And that was again, another first for us, or for me anyway. We were down in the valley, and it started raining. And it rained, and it rained, and it rained. Now this is in a 15-minute period now. I actually took out my canteen cup. I filled it up 3 times in 15 minutes.
Gee.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah.
So what does that do? That just swells the creeks up and all this kind of stuff. We have to get through them. So I guess we stayed in there 2-3 weeks. And they said, well, we don't need this place anymore, let's go. You know, typical Army. So we left, and we got to go back to the base camp. So we stayed there for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. And then they had a rocket attack. And I tell you, those gunners on those rockets were good too. But they hit the ammo dump and the fuel dump. And it looked like, it was better than any 4th of July fireworks show you ever seen in your life. That stuff going up all over the place. But after that calmed down, they shipped us back out to what they call an LZ, was LZ Jack, which was probably 20 clicks north of Camp Evans. And that's where we would CA out in the morning, you know, maybe go into the mountains, go to the flatlands, into the villages, you know, just check around and see what's going on. And then they got us into a place they call Rocket Ridge. And this is in July. Well, we were up there, I'll take that back. We were up there June, last week in June and July, the whole month of July. That's where my lieutenant got hit. I lost my best friend I had over there. Had a buddy of mine sitting closer than we are here, right next to me. We don't know what took him out, but when we put him on the chopper, we thought he was dead. There's no way that man could have survived. But by golly, he's with us today.
Huh.
If I can advance forward a little bit, like I said, this young man named Greg Holloway, everybody called him Red, from Nebraska. And we had him some NVA up in a cave up in Rocket Ridge. And this was right after Don Olson was killed. And it was just a strange thing, because Don and I came over the top of the mountain. He went to the right, I went to the left. And when we got in position, he stuck his head out, or his chest. He was just standing behind a tree. And he took one right through the arm. So either way, if I would have went that way, it could have been me.
Yeah.
And that was tough. But then, a couple hours later, like I said, we had these guys boxed up in a cave, or a bunker, whatever you want to call it. Greg Holloway, who was not even in my squad. He was in my platoon, but he was not in my squad. I was in first squad, he was in third squad. But he always wanted to be in first squad, so he'd come around us all the time. So he came up and said, "Hey Don, okay to come up?" I said, "Sure, come on up here." I was sitting there with my steel pot on the ground, smoking a cigarette. Greg pulled up about as close as that chair right there. He said, "How things going?" About that time, we don't know, like I said, we don't know if it was a booby trap, claymore, or what. But after I got him off the top of me, blood running all over me, his whole back of his head was blowing off, all down his back. We got the medic up there, Mark Foden, got him on the chopper. Mark and I said, we'll never see him again. Well, fast forward about 45 years. I'm in Washington, D.C. with my lieutenant, Mark Foden, a couple other guys that were with us. And they all knew it, that Greg was coming, except Mark and I, the medic and myself. And guess who walked through the door?
Gee.
You talk about swallowing your heart 3 times. My goodness.
Wow.
Man, but that was cool. I mean, he's had a rough life, but he's doing real good now.
What were your emotions when you saw him?
I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I really didn't. I mean, I was speechless. I really was. I could, man, it was just unreal. Because like I said, we both thought he was dead. And it was the first time we'd ever been to the wall. So, you know, we were looking in the directory for Holloway,
Yeah.
and there was no Holloway there. So, well, if he made it, he's a vegetable somewhere, you know.
Wow.
Well,
Boy.
but he's doing good.
Gosh.
Had a little problem with drinking and drugs, but and marriages. You know, I think he went through about 3 or 4 marriages, but he's found a nice young lady
Good.
that treats him well, and
Good.
he treats her well, so that works out. And he's a big shot with the DAV up in Nebraska, and he's I think he's going to be the state commander or junior vice or something for the VVA up there.
Wow.
And he's an artist. He does great artwork.
Well, that's
You know,
that's wonderful.
Man. But that was really, really good. But after that, after Holloway got hit, we had some guys going up, and they were trying to get to the cave or the bunker. Well, they got in the line of fire, so, and you could hear them up there yelling and screaming, "Come get us, come get us!" And I couldn't take it anymore, so that's when I went up there and got them back, and then they decided, well, you made it one time, why don't you try go back up there again and see if you can't take care of that bunker?
Gee.
Well, I think I know where all the hiding places are now. I might be able to do it, so I did. And that's where the Silver Star came in, right there.
Well, I want to congratulate you on that. I
Thank
saw
you, sir.
that on your form, and I was going to make sure you talked about that. You should be very proud of that.
I am.
Good.
At the time, I could care less about it.
Yeah.
But as the years went by,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow. Let's see. After that, we just kicked
Hey, I'm
around.
going to go back to that. When you
Sure.
went up to rescue one of your buddies, you did that on your own?
Yes, sir.
Nobody told you to. You did that on your own. Wow.
I couldn't leave anybody out there.
Wow.
There's no way.
Well, you definitely deserve the Silver Star.
I don't know about that part.
Well, I do. Okay.
We kicked around up north I Corps for 8 months, and then we moved down south. Took the whole first cab and moved them down south to Ann Lock, which is, I don't know, 40 miles northwest of Saigon. Down into the, you know, after working in the mountains for so long, then you go to the flatlands down there in the jungles and stuff. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
But really, the only good thing about that was we missed the monsoon. We got 2 weeks of it, and then we went down south.
Oh.
That was outstanding. But I don't know if I could have taken any more of that
Yeah.
rain, man. That was
Yeah.
terrible. So we got down there, and like I said, it was a whole different scenario down there. They had rubber tree plantations and stuff. So we happened to see some NVA running them through the rubber plants and stuff. And the CO said, "Let's get them." Yeah, here we go. So we go up there and, sure enough, we walked right into an ambush. They took out our whole water platoon except for one guy, and the only reason he was alive, because he was on R&R. They got all them. We lost 15 guys. But then again, it was a strange thing. We were standing out on a road, and the first sergeant, Lorenzo Clark, he looks down the road and he said, "That's all of our guys. Tell them to come on up here." Well, you know, I waved them up. They come walking up there. That's 2 NVA soldiers. You couldn't tell them apart.
Gee.
And they were, when they had us ambushed and everybody was down, they were speaking better English than we did.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
It was unreal. But then, supposedly after we got permission to shoot in the rubber tree plantation, you weren't supposed to go in those things unless you had permission. And I've never bought another Michelin tire since I found out that they own the plantation. But anyway,
Who owned the plantation?
Michelin,
Oh, Michelin.
Michelin Rubber Company.
Oh.
Yep. Because see, the government, every plant they destroyed, they had to pay for. The government had to pay for.
Oh, I see.
Now this is just hearsay. I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I want to make that perfectly clear.
Jeez. Wow.
But we had a couple of incidents where, again, we had guys left out and somebody had to go get them. So they said, "Well, yeah, I guess you've done this before. Go get those guys." So I did.
Wow. Gee.
I got 2 Bronze Stars for that. And 2 Purple Hearts. But that's it.
Can you talk about getting wounded?
Well, all my wounds were just shrapnel wounds. There was nothing, well, I guess you could call them serious if you want to, but I did get to spend a week out on the hospital ship. Drank a lot of milk. But both times it was in back of me, exploded, just covered me all up. Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever been stuck with a hot knife. That's what it feels like. Luckily, it didn't penetrate that deep.
Yeah.
So I consider myself very lucky on that part.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then I got shipped back to the rear. I got to spend 2 months in the rear before I came home.
And where was that?
I was at Anlock.
Analog, okay.
Didn't like it one bit. Did not like it. And don't get me wrong, I believe in the old spit and polish stuff, but not when you're in a combat zone.
Yeah.
No. But I didn't have a choice. I couldn't. They wouldn't send me back out to the field, and they said, "No, you have to drive this mule here,
Yeah.
take stuff to the pad and stuff." So I said, "Okay," and I said, "I'll show them. I'll just take me a 7-day leave, in-country leave." So I went to Ankei, and I told them I was there. I'm going on a 7-day leave in country. I said, "You only got 2 weeks left in country, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "How'd you like to go home?" I said, "Let's go, buddy." And that was the end of my Vietnam experience right there. I got home and went through Fort Lewis. They got us all a brand new outfit, Class A's, put your ribbons on you and all this kind of stuff. And they told you, said, "Well, just as soon as you get off post, if you can, change into civilian clothes." because there's protesters out there.
And where was this?
Fort Lewis, Washington.
Okay.
So, I didn't have any civilian calls. I went straight to the airport. I saw them out there, but they didn't bother me and I didn't bother them.
Describe your feelings. I mean, you just been over there fighting for your country and you see these people out there protesting. What went through your mind?
Why? On both parts.
Yeah.
Why were they out there protesting against me? And why was I really over there? I knew why. I think I knew why I was over there. I had to do my part, and that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah.
And luckily I won out.
Right.
But, you know, like I said, they didn't bother me and I didn't bother them. I stayed as far away from them as I could. And then I came home and I went to Fort Dix, New Jersey for 6 months. Didn't do anything but, well, I was in a basic training outfit. All I had to do was get them up for reveille in the morning, and that was about it. And when I got home from Vietnam, I weighed 170 pounds. 6 months later, I weighed 250 pounds. And it was from a combination of either the hoagie sandwiches or all the beer I was drinking. I'm not sure which one. They got good hoagie sandwiches in New Jersey, let me tell you. And they got good beer out there too, cheap beer. Smith's and Schaefer's. You get a 64-ounce pitcher for 50 cents, I think it was. But
Well, you deserved it after what you.
well, I don't know. It almost kept me in the Army because my blood pressure just shot straight up. Of course,
yeah.
you know. I had to talk the medic into, oh man, I'm getting ready to get out. He said, all right. So he straightened out all that out for me. Man, what a mess that was. But that was, when I had 30 days left, they give you your little recruitment talk, you know, re-up talk. And I told him, I'd like to stay in. I said, but I'd like to be a helicopter pilot. Oh, okay. So they looked at my scores and he said, got one low score here. He said, we can retest you and see what happens. I said, okay. I retested. And evidently I passed it. He said, yeah, we can get you in Fort Rutgers within a week. I said, okay, let's do it. Never happened. They never got my orders tank.
Do you know why?
No, sir.
Huh.
I don't know if that guy was just pulling my leg or what
Yeah.
to get me to sign up. But I told him I wasn't signing until I saw the orders to Fort Rutgers. So when my 30 days were up, I was headed back to Atlanta, Georgia. And that was the end of my military career.
What was your feeling when you were officially out of the Army?
What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Exactly. I got home and the first thing the employment office told me, said, well, we can get you on unemployment. I said, well, how much does that pay? I think that time was $52 a week, you know, something like that. I said, well, okay, let's try that. You know, I didn't have nothing else to do. So I said, well, you have to look for a job while you do it. I said, okay. So I had a little spending money. And I'm sure y'all have heard this story before, but I'm going to tell it again.
Yeah.
I went to Georgia Power. I went to Bell South, Southern Bell at that time, Atlanta Gas Light Company. I went everywhere, beating the bush, trying to find a job. And I might get through the first interview or the second interview, and then that third interview would open up that file and it'd say, Vietnam vet, yep. Purple Heart, yep. Can't use you.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Gee whiz.
Mhm. And then,
Wow.
but you know, there's an old saying, if I knew then what I know now,
Yeah.
it would be Power Fredenburg and Bell South Fredenburg.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But so I ended up working for RCA of all places, of all people, over on Empire Boulevard in Hateville in the warehouse. After that, I was still kicking around looking for a job, and my brother was a sheet metal worker, or is a sheet metal worker with Local 85 here in Atlanta. He said, "Why don't you come down and apply for the apprenticeship program so you can get in?" I said, "Well, what do you guys do?" He said, "Install heat and air." Don't sound like much fun to me. So, in the meantime, I got married, still working at the warehouse, making $5 an hour or something like that. We, my wife and I bought a home, and it didn't have air in it. So my brother said, "Well, I can put the ductwork in for you and hook it all up to your furnace." And my wife's brother can put in the condensing unit for you. I said, "Okay." So my brother and I are up underneath the house running this round spiral pipe. And I said, "Hell, this ain't too hard." He said, "How much does this pay?" And at that time it was $10 an hour, $12 an hour. I said, "I think I might be able to do this." So I went down and I applied for the apprenticeship program. Passed my test. It went on in. Back then you went to school 2 nights a week after work. And for first and second year, and then for your third and fourth year apprenticeship, you went 3 nights a week because you had a welding course in there. So we get in the classroom, and here's this instructor named Ronnie Cosby up there, and he's drawing all these lines up here, parallel lines here, and vertical lines here. And I said, "Excuse me, where's this round pipe stuff? That's what I want to do." And Ronnie said, "That's not all we do." I said, "Well, that's all I want to do." He said, "No, it ain't either." So make a long story short, I got through my apprenticeship, and I spent the next 33 years as a sheet metal worker.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. 25 years as a welding instructor down there at the hall.
Wow.
So, and I'm certified with the American Welding Society. I can teach, I can do whatever I want to. And then I finally got tired of it. I said, "This old body's just, it's time to go." So I retired. I took up golf, which was a bad thing to do.
Frustrated.
Yes. It's worse than working. And my wife and I, we take road trips, and and that's something I'd like to say. My wife has been with me for 41 years now.
Wow.
And she shares a lot in this too. She deserves a lot of credit. And I've got 2 beautiful kids, a boy and a girl. I got 3 lovely granddaughters. And gentlemen, I'm just happy as a clam right now anyway.
Well, sounds like you've got a good life.
Yeah, well, so far, yeah.
I want to go back because you were fairly modest about some of the things you did, I believe. I'm looking at the form you filled out, medal, special service awards. It's got Vietnam Service Medal with 5 Bronze Service Stars.
That's 5 campaigns that you're in.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, based you can tell me if I'm wrong, but based on my experience of either being there or interviewing people and being there, that's pretty unusual to have 5 Bronze Service Stars, isn't it?
Yes, sir. And if I was smart, I could have saved myself a lot of trouble and put 1 gold star on there, or silver star, whatever, I'm not sure what the
Yeah.
one did, instead of the 5. But if you're gonna ask, I hope you're not gonna ask me what those campaigns were, because I just went where they told me to go.
Nah.
They told me where,
That doesn't really matter, just the 5
yes, sir.
Service Stars is
Yes.
extremely impressive. Well, you had an amazing experience in Vietnam, and you've had a heck of a life since then. Is there anything else you would like to say about your experiences, about your life, or any message you would like to send to anybody who sees this?
I would like to talk about the vet center and the VA, if you don't mind.
No, that'd be great.
Again, when Holloway showed up at Washington D.C., of course he was 100% disabled through the government. And he told all of us sitting in a hotel room one night, he said, every one of you guys, and there was 6 or 7 of us in there, said, you're 100%. You should be at a VA medical center, or you should be at a vet center. You do DVA, someplace. And of course I looked at my buddy Mark and I said, there ain't nothing wrong with me. Mark said, there ain't nothing wrong with me. So about a month later, Mark called me and says, I'm in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. I said, okay, what is that? He said it's a rehab or PTS center for guys with PTSD. I said, well, I didn't know you had it. He said, yeah. He said, you do too? I said, I don't think so, Mark. So he just let it rock on. 2 weeks later, I get a call from a Sharon Rice, who is a VA psychiatrist in Columbus, Ohio, on a Sunday night. And she talked to me for an hour and a half on her own time now. And then she asked if she could speak to my wife, and spoke to her for an hour. And she came back on the phone with me and she said, Don, you need help. And she said, I'm going to give you a number and I want you to call it. Well, this to refer me to the vet center here in Atlanta. And I got a hold of a real fine gentleman named Frank Nelson. And he called me in. I guess they got some kind of list they go by to see if you got PTSD. And he was asking me questions, and he was checking them off, and he said, well, you got 10 out of 10, so something's wrong with you. So he actually helped me get set up through the VA. I had to do the legwork myself, but he kind of put me in contact to who I needed to see. And after I got the VA straightened out, it's really weird. I'd go to these meetings and there was an awful lot of wannabes in there. And I'm sure y'all know what a wannabe is. And I just get frustrated with that. I get up and walk out. So I finally got to a guy named Cobley. He passed away a couple of years back, but he got me set on the straight and narrow. And I finally got everything squared away. and I was still working at the time. I go in there to see these social workers or psychiatrists, and they'd say, do you work? Well, yeah, I work. Who the hell's gonna pay my bills? You know, I gotta pay them myself. I said, well, there ain't nothing wrong with you. You can work. I said, well, that's all I wanted to find out. So I just kept complaining and switching and complaining and switching. And finally I got a hold of the right guy. And now I'm 100% total permanent. I still go to my vet sitter meetings every Friday. That's why the first appointment we had was on Friday and I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And I met a great group of guys. They're all combat vets. You know, we can sit around, we can tell our stories. You can tell what you did last week, or
Yeah.
you know, if you beat your wife, or
Yeah.
or whatever you want to do, you know, and it stays right there in that room.
Wow.
You know, which is great because we need something like that.
Yeah.
But that's all I got to say about that.
Well, but that's wonderful that, number one, there's a program like that, and number two, that you had the courage to participate in it.
Very good.
Tony, do you have any questions? Well, number one, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you participating in this project. I mean, your story is pretty amazing. We've heard a lot of them, and the courage you exhibited in Vietnam, I'm sure at the time you did it because you knew it was the right thing to do, but you and your family should really be proud of what you did. And I know just meeting you 2 hours ago, I'm proud of what you did. And
Well, Joe, you know, it's a funny thing. I was thinking on the way over here, would I do that again today? You're damn right I would.
yeah, yeah.
I might think about it a little bit longer, but I'd still
but
do
you
it.
still do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a real credit to you, and
Thank you, sir.
I want to thank you so much for sharing your story, because I guarantee you over the years there are going to be a lot of people that'll hear this story and it'll inspire them to go the extra mile, whether it's in battle or in life. And I know your family's proud of you.
Yes, sir.
And thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you too for putting up with me, and you do it.
It was our pleasure,
You do a good
really.
job.
It was our honor. Thank you.
Thank you.